Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, West Coast Weather Watch. Today is January 31st, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery here. You can see there's been some light snowfall here across some of the Pacific Northwest, including at my house, sticking on things out there, except for the immediate roadway there, but a nice coating, a snowfall going on there. Some warm frontal action here, bringing a little bit more than forecast. Still should not have big impacts, and we should warm up nicely across Pacific Northwest as we go on in through the day today. Maybe hang on a little bit longer as you go further north towards southwest BC. But you can see these next storm systems coming in here. There's going to be a strong frontal system as we go on into the end of the week here for the Pacific Northwest, and eventually through the weekend might reach all the way down through California. We'll take a look at those details. You can see that upper level low is now weakening, sliding down south across the peninsula here, setting the stage for a very dynamic ice storm as we go on in through tomorrow across portions of Texas down there. Now taking a look at things, you can see current hazards. Update this. You can see the winter storm warnings down there for Texas. Some lingering winter weather advisories, high wind warnings for portions of Montana there. California, some wind advisories. Still some high wind warnings going on for some of the higher terrain there as well. Still some strong offshore winds going on here. So that's why those wind advisories are down here for portions of Nevada, California, and Arizona shown there. Some freeze warnings there across some of the Central Valley as well. And there's some wave activity going on up and down the coastline here today. Some swells moving down. So heads up for that if you're going out to the beaches, really anywhere along, anywhere Pacific Northwest, down through California today. Taking a look here at SNOTEL, current snow water equivalent here across the Washington state area. Look at this. We're actually a little bit below average for many areas now, but the upper Columbia is still doing well there. Pretty close to average here, but we haven't had that much snow recently, so we're falling a little bit behind. But we are going to start to pick this up here as we go through the end of the week coming up here. We'll look at those totals coming up in a moment. This is for Oregon, right around average. Some of Southeast Oregon not doing too bad, but again, they don't get as much snowfall as the Cascades. So this can be inflated by, smaller numbers than across the Cascades. You can see generally just a little bit below average, but not too bad across the region here. And we do have more on the way. This is for Northern California. Look at some of these temperatures all the way up in Northeast California, all the way down towards zero here, but pretty chilly all the way down through the Bay Area and the Valley area as you go on in through Central California shown there. This is the hazardous beach conditions. San Francisco National Weather Service talking about the increased risk of sneaker waves and rip currents. So watch out there, west and northwest facing beaches now through 10 p.m. today. This is lingering snow showers on into Flagstaff, Arizona. That low pressure system as it starts to move out there. Still going on a bit this morning, but it should be getting better as we go through Wednesday and Thursday. No impacts expected those 2 days. Good graphic there from the National Weather Service, Flagstaff, Arizona. Now looking at the most recent European run. Here's that warm frontal action that happened there. And a lot of times when we have cold air in place, these warm fronts do tend to overproduce a little bit. Even though it's not a dynamic snowstorm here, it is producing a little bit of snowfall, some minor impacts maybe, but not a huge snowstorm. Now you can see that low weakening down here across the southwest here, and you can see the energy from that low is going to eject out over Texas where the cold air is in place out there. Pretty intense ice storm setting up there across some of the state of Texas there. And then as we go a little bit on to the future, I want to show the next system coming. You can see a strong low pressure system out here off the coast of Vancouver Island and Washington as we go through Thursday night, Friday morning. Pretty good grading on the south side of that. Nice winds moving into Vancouver Island. Some good snows for the higher terrain there. Bringing back a blustery frontal system across some of the Puget Sound, Willamette Valley. Bringing some rain down towards the central portion of California, towards the Bay Area here as well into Friday morning. And then that's as far as the last night's European run goes. They're 90 hours out. This could bring some snowfall across places like Spokane, the Rocky Mountains of Idaho and Montana, as well as this moves in here. And we have potential systems after that here too. We'll look at that in the extended forecast. This is the parent temperature, the NAM 3KM high resolution model. You can see this morning all that chilly air in place here, and this does take wind chill into account, but you can see kind of the diurnal heating and then cooling overnight. But you can see the west coast moderate a bit. If we back up a little bit, you can see at my house it was about 31 degrees this morning here, so a little bit below freezing across some portions of western Oregon, southwest BC, Washington there. But you can see the modification take place over the next day or two, and even across the Intermountain West we do warm up a bit, less for some of the mountain areas, but that Arctic air is pretty much getting out of here for the most part across much of the west compared to what it was anyway. It's still pretty chilly, but after all, it is winter. Now taking a look here, this is looking a little bit closer, and you can see as of this morning, you can see these pockets of sub-freezing air here as the warm front moved over the top of that. That's what brought the snowfall across the region today, and it did drop from about 34 to 31 at my house with some evaporative cooling here as that warm frontal moisture came into that cooler air mass here across some of the Puget Sound up towards southwest BC on through this morning. So you can see the warm up occurring as we go through the day today, getting up in probably the 40s for much of the Puget Sound, even warmer for the Willamette Valley, trying to hold on a little bit longer here across some of the southwest BC. And you can see the chillier it is, the further you go east out of the Cascades, shown here on in through eastern Washington and Oregon. Go on in through Wednesday, and you can see some of that warm up here, but just kind of just barely above freezing for some areas here. And you can imagine that if you have any kind of moisture on the surfaces, you get a little bit of a thawing and then refreezing as you go into the overnight hours. So watch out for those slick spots out there across Pacific Northwest. Now, this is total snow in Kuchera. This is last night's run. It goes out 90 hours. You can see the system coming through today, mainly a BC snowmaker here, the higher terrain. Nice amounts kind of clips Washington, Northern Cascades there. But then we've got a better system coming on in here towards the end of the week here, and you can see the snow start to pile up across the Cascades here, a little bit across the Siskiyous there as well, and then additional systems will come in after that. Now taking a look here, the 100-meter wind span, I wanted to show this really quickly here. You got those offshore winds still going on this morning across some of Southern California and across some portions of Nevada here too, across the desert southwest. You can see some strong westerlies coming off the Rockies here at times during the next few days as well. But then look at this next frontal system here coming through the Pacific Northwest. Fairly strong low pressure system bringing some strong winds to the coast. Vancouver Island there, you can see some southeast winds. We'll take a look at this in some more detail tomorrow as we get another couple model runs here on just how strong this low pressure is going to be. As you can see these southeast winds here, this is a southeast sucker event here as it comes across some of Whidbey Island, the San Juans up to the Strait of Georgia here as well. Could bring some strong winds down through the Oregon coast also. Blustery winds through the Willamette Valley and the Puget Sound as well. And then additional systems potentially after that. This is Vancouver International Airport. This was last night's run before that snow started. You can see it was calling for just about an inch of snow there and not doing too bad. Bellingham, I'm not sure how it's doing right now. I haven't checked in a little bit, but I know they were getting a little bit of snowfall up there this morning. You can see the European hinting at that, and even SeaTac here. And we probably do have about 1/10 of an inch officially here, so it looks like these ensemble members actually picked up on that, but you can see many of them did not pick up on that snow too well. This is San Francisco. As we go on in through Friday morning, you can see precipitation coming all the way down towards the Bay Area there, and then potentially another system after that later on in through the weekend. We'll watch that. You can see we have a little bit of time to watch that before that rainfall gets here. Los Angeles, a few ensemble members are showing some rainfall here, maybe a little better chance as we go on through early next week. We'll continue to watch that system here as well as the models are kind of fluctuating with the strength and track of that low pressure system into the west coast of North America. Mount Shasta here, calling for a couple rounds of snow coming up here. Again, we're going to refine some of these totals as we get closer. Don't pay too much attention to the totals several days in advance just yet. Just look at the threat of snow here as we go on in through Friday morning, then potentially on in through next week. Again, this is Truckee Tahoe Airport up there. And you can see a pretty good shot of snowfall coming maybe here towards the end of the weekend here. So we'll watch that as we go. And then maybe some future systems out there through the extended forecast. Look at Quileute, Washington, as we start to get the storm train back towards the Pacific Northwest here. Some multiple rounds of fairly heavy precipitation towards the northwest Washington coast. It can include BC and even some of the Oregon coast and the Cascade Mountains as well. Check out Seattle getting in on the rain action also with potential multiple rounds of precipitation moving in through here as we go on into the next week and a half. Take a look at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, checking out the wind speeds here. You can see some of these ensembles are up over 40, a couple rogue ones up towards 50 miles per hour, but probably a blustery front as that moves through on the day Friday shown here. Now this is looking at total precipitation. We're looking at the North American map. There's Alaska, BC, Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona here. Put that into motion. It's that low pressure system dying down here across the desert southwest. A little bit of precipitation across portions of Arizona as you go through the day today towards this afternoon. Ice storm sets up here across Texas, but you can see ongoing precipitation across BC here, and you'll see the stronger frontal system arriving there, bringing that rain across some of the Pacific Northwest. Then maybe a bit of an atmospheric river here as we go on in through later this weekend here. I'll show you more on that here in a moment, stretching all the way down through California potentially there, maybe the Intermountain West getting another round of snowfall here, which is always welcome. Now we're out towards El hour 216 here, and then we're at 10 days. So pretty good signal here across a lot of the Pacific Northwest, BC, all the way down the Oregon coast here, clipping some of the Northern California coast, maybe even getting down towards the Bay Area here. We'll see how these models trend here as far as snowfall across the Sierra Nevada here as we go on through the 10-day period shown there. But a pretty good precipitation signal coming from the Pacific Northwest anyway through the next 10 days. Now, this is looking at precipitable water here, the anomaly. So this kind of gives us an idea of where those atmospheric rivers are lined up. Kind of one coming into BC here as we go through Wednesday there. Frontal system moves through on Friday, strong low pressure system, but it's pretty progressive there, gets out of there pretty quickly here. And you can kind of see this one lines up on western Washington and BC, maybe the Oregon coastline here for an atmospheric river event. Again, not that strong, and this is mostly beneficial at this time of year. Well, I shouldn't say at this time of year, but right now we're not looking at any major flooding events, so it will be beneficial. But you can see this kind of drag down through California here also as we go through Sunday on into Monday morning here. So we'll have to watch this one and check out the strength of this atmospheric river as it moves across California here too on in through early next week. And you can see additional systems possible all the way through the 10-day period for the Pacific Northwest shown here. Now taking a look at this is the European ensemble mean here, and you can see this green here means there are some AR2 possibilities across the Washington, Oregon coast, even across some of the BC coast as well. But you can see this is mainly just kind of a weak atmospheric river scenarios coming up here. The fetch might be a little bit long, but the flow is just not that strong yet. But this could still change, so we'll just watch it for now. And you can see this is about February 2nd going into 3rd, 4th or so on into February. Again, we have another couple days to check out these systems here, so we'll watch that as we go. You can see avalanche danger across the west here, still moderate across some of the Sierra Nevada here, and going down towards low for much of the Cascades now. But just, always have a heads up. You can go to this map here at avalanche.org and click on these individual locations here, and you can get additional information. A great website here. It tells you above the tree line, near tree line, below. It tells you what kind of risks to look out for. It even shows pictures and all kinds of stuff to have a discussion about what's going on there in the backcountry. So these avalanches get people every year. So, we could probably save some lives if people paid a little bit more attention to this as well. It might look nice out there, but even these small snow slides can get you, folks. Now taking a look here, we got one more day just kind of showing you that warm water building up off the coast of South America, infiltrating back into the equatorial Pacific here. La Nina being shown its way out here as we go on in through spring and summer on into fall of this year here. It had a nice run, but it's almost certainly coming to an end. This is showing something called a Kelvin wave. So this is warm water building up across the western Pacific here. You can see the longitude here. Sorry, almost said latitude. And you can see 180 here would be the date line, and Kauai would be somewhere in here. But this just kind of shows you that this upper ocean heat anomalies are starting to make their way a bit off to the east now. And this means another signal there showing that La Nina is probably on its way out, as you can see these anomalies building as we go. And these are what we call Kelvin waves. These dashed lines here, warm phase of the Kelvin wave, cool phase, warm phase, cool phase. So you can see we went through a warm phase there in December, now a little bit of a cool phase, but you can see another warm phase is right on the heels of that. So that's probably going to eventually start to weaken the La Nina itself here as we go on in through the next couple of months. So yeah, a nice little surprise there this morning. I woke up to that snowfall, excuse me, across some of the Pacific Northwest this morning. And it's always nice to watch the snow fall out there. And I was actually sticking on things except the immediate roadway out there. But yeah, nice little scene this morning. There's not going to be too big of impacts here. And we are going to warm up this afternoon. But we are going to start to bring the storm train back towards the Pacific Northwest here. Some of these might extend down into California and into the Intermountain West as well. And a huge ice storm setting up across Texas. If you do not know about that, heads up, National Weather Service stuff down there. I was even thinking about doing an additional video just on this storm here. Going to be pretty dynamic down there. And you can see that storm system associated with the Arctic front that kind of moved down across California is still just lingering down here, but weakening quite rapidly here as it moves across Baja Peninsula down there across Mexico there. But yeah, anyway, we're going to get some more precipitation, some more typical weather here across Pacific Northwest as we go. We'll take a little bit closer look at the extended forecast coming up here tomorrow. I'll try to look in the tea leaves and see if anything's coming as far as cold air. Right now, there's nothing, too striking there out in our extended forecast. So I'll look at it again tomorrow, and if there is something we can look at and share together, we'll go ahead and do that. But right now, nothing too extreme looking on into our extended forecast. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.